Coming up today on the Nice Guys on Business.
Our economy right now is depending on small and medium-sized businesses to continue to provide services and products. So in my world right now, as we're in this thing, we're a couple weeks into it, I think it's just do your duty, keep your people productive, make sure people are all positive. And if you're a fear monger, doom and gloom, I think leave that to the news.
Get it straight, Buster. I'm not here to say please. I'm here to tell you what to do, and if self-preservation is an instinct you possess, you better do it, and do it quick. I'm here to help. If my help's not appreciated, then lots of luck, gentlemen. If I'm curt with you, it's because time is a factor. I think fast, I talk fast. I need you guys to act fast if you want to get out of this. So, pretty please, with sugar on top. Listen to the Nice Guys on Business podcast. Go from where you are now to where you could be. Get expert tips to grow your business, to be more productive and more efficient, whether you're trying to build influence, grow your community, or make it rain. Best-selling author of Nice Guys Finish First, Doug Sandler, can lead the way. The Nice Guys on Business is produced by Turnkey Podcast Productions. Now, here's your host, Doug Sandler.
So get this, Nice Guy community. The title to this episode, Survive and Thrive During a Health Crisis. How appropriate is that? Who the fuck thought we would be right where we are right now, which is I'm from home, Daniel's at home, our guest, and we're here and we're going to share with you some survive and thrive tips during a health crisis, which if you haven't looked outside your window, although right now it looks to be about 65 and sunny. I can't quite see it, cloudy with a chance of virus. I don't see that outside. But Daniel Ramsey, he is our guest today. He's the founder and CEO of MyOutDesk. As importantly as he's got a cool way and a cool podcast called MyOutDesk Scale The Podcast. His company is the highest rated virtual assistant company in the marketplace with over 300 five-star reviews. He has over 12 years of experience serving more than 5,000 clients. I thought we had a lot when we just had a couple hundred. MyOutDesk instantly scales growing companies with virtual professionals. Now more than ever, outsourcing is the key if you're looking to grow your business remotely. Even big business can be run from your house in your pajamas. I've been saying this for the last 5 years. I don't have to get out of my pajamas anymore. And finally, Daniel is here to validate that. Here to chat all things outsourcing. Welcome, Daniel, to the Nice Guys on Business podcast.
Hey, Doug, thank you for having me. And what a crazy world we're in. Everything changed 5 days ago. Like last week was kind of, it was just nutty for us as a business owner, you know?
So what do we tell the people that are listening? Certainly fear and panic are right now are running rampant. And I've been able to say, hey, I just washed my hands a couple of times this morning and I haven't had to leave the house yet. Is there anything better than not having to leave your house to actually do what you love to do best?
Well, the whole country is getting a crash course right now on working remotely. In fact, in 2018, the U.S. Census put out a study and said, about 5.2%, it's 5.2 according to them, in 2018 worked remotely. Well, today, that number's above 50%, like overnight in 7 days, right? So, what we're going to talk about today is going remote. How do you do that? What's the right things? I also want to talk about what's the CEO mindset in a crisis, because it's a big deal. How do you stay positive, keep your employees reassured, plus talk to your clients, plus begin to even function as a company? How do you keep your employees productive in this mode when they're working, like you said, it at home with pajamas,
All right. So we all know we need to do the inner work before we do the outer work. So let's take an internal moment for just a second and just talk about how do you remain positive, company or no company, whether you're an employee or an employer, how do you remain positive in a fear and scarcity based environment that's going on out there in the world? I do, just because I ignore everything that I don't even listen to the news.
Right.
I've been watching Downton Abbey on my evenings. I'm not sure about you if you're watching CNN, but how do you remain positive in an environment on your own in this particular case?
Well, in my world, I'm telling everybody to go back to basics. If you go to the gym and you're going to do a workout, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, these are the basics in working out. And you can do those anywhere in the world, right? You don't need, you can go out on a tree and do some pull-ups, right? So It's the same for entrepreneurs. Let's get back to the basics. Remember, your job is to serve your clients. Your job is to add value to them. Your job is probably right now not to sell them.
Right.
Your job is to check in on them, see what they're doing, make sure them and their family is okay, ask them about their work. How are you doing with work? And so, my thing is back to basics. Remember, we're all human. Have some empathy. Know that everybody's situation is different. I'm at home. I've got a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old and a wife right past this door right here behind me, and we're all home together. It's the first time in our ever that we've been
in
at
our
home.
ever.
Yeah, in forever that we've spent this much time together. And the house is a disaster. My kids are really happy because we're playing like we've never played before. But this situation isn't going to affect everyone the same. So back to basics. Remember, you serve somebody, you can add value to people, and we're all people. So be human, have some empathy, and understand we're all in this together.
What do you think that, and before we get into how you handle your team or your employees or your staff or your clients and all of this, what do you think this is the wake-up call for? Is this the reality of, hey, listen, I mean, we've all been taking everything for granted, the outside world for granted. We've been taking our customers and our employees and our staff and our work environment and the ease of which we are doing business for granted. Or is it something else?
I don't know that there's a lesson yet. I mean, I think we're still in the beginning stages of it. So I mean, when you look behind, the view is perfectly clear, right? Hindsight is easy, 2020. But I think right now, as we're in it, I think this is an opportunity for both leaders like you and I to reassure people. I think that we have a civic duty to stay productive. Our economy right now is depending on small and medium-sized businesses to continue to provide services and products. So in my world right now, as we're in this thing, we're a couple weeks into it, I think it's just do your duty, keep your people productive, make sure people are all positive. And if you're a fear monger, doom and gloom, I mean, I think leave that to the news. Those people can do that. As a leader, there are hard times coming, so you don't have to sugarcoat it. You can be realistic with your people. But I think this is part of the world of like, let's get remote, let's stay productive and be as positive as we can during this crisis.
So how much of a shift has your company had to make in this process? Because you are let's get all these things outsourced. If you have a company and you want to do this, you are the outsource king when it comes to this. So how much have you actually had to shift or have you had to do any paradigm shift of your thinking or of your processes of your model? Or is this just, hey guys, I've been telling you this all along, let's just come on board now? Where do you position yourself?
No, we're for sure shifting. I mean, look, we have a physical office here in Sacramento. We're in Sacramento, California, so we're your neighbors to the north, Doug. And we had folks who came into the office every day. For instance, our bookkeeper is like, well, who's going to pick up the mail? And we're like, we hadn't thought about that, so we need to have the mail, sent to my home. And then I'm thinking, well, what am I going to do with it? I don't have a scanner. I don't have a printer, so like there are definite shifts. I'll give you an example. I got here to my home office 2 weeks ago and realized that my Wi-Fi was no good. Like I have a really fast internet, but my Wi-Fi was weak. I needed to plug it in. And so we had to run a cord, I mean, just the reality is everybody is going to have to settle in different. My wife, we moved our treadmill. We had a treadmill in the office. She's like, bring that thing home. I need it. We have a treadmill in our garage now so that my wife can go on she's crazy. She does like 6-7 mile runs and and I'm like, okay, you're awesome, wifey. But, so I think everybody is going to be affected in some way, regardless of what position they're in our society. And that's why my message to our people, to our clients is, hey, we're all in this together. If everybody gives everything they can to stay productive, it's going to help us through this crisis.
So the reality of it is, though, unfortunately, not everybody is going to stay positive and not everybody is going to stay constructive. And there are going to be some people that are coming with their hand out. How do you deal with the client that just says, it's I'm spending $1,500 a month with you. I can't afford it, or whatever that number is. I can't afford it any longer, but I still need the staff because I still got to keep things running. What do you do as a business owner? And what advice would you give to those that are in our community that are business owners that don't have the income coming in because a number of their clients had that, but their clients still need the service? So what do you do?
Yeah, it's a great question. And there's a couple things. I mean, first, I go back to basics. We're all human. So I'm asking them, how are things going? I'm showing empathy. And then I'm trying to understand exactly their financial scenario, because the media and everybody out there is doom and gloom.
Yeah.
Some people could be in anxiety and fear space. For those people, I offer an ear. And literally, I've had these calls last week and this week where I'm just offering an ear. For the people who are thinking a little bit more strategic, I'm offering my time and strategizing with them. Like, okay, what are you seeing projections? What are you thinking is going to happen? And so we're just in that space of planning out what's going to happen. Because for most businesses, we haven't been affected yet. Like, we're still...
Yeah.
I mean, last Friday, we were at a 99% up rate, meaning most of our people, we had 4 people who were out of like 1,200 virtual professionals, right? So 4 people were on vacation or had birthdays already scheduled or sick, and we've had 0 effects. Like our company, nobody has gotten this virus yet. So most of the time, I'm just spending time with them, listening and trying to help them strategize. Once in a while, like we've had one client who, said, hey, look, my business is blowing up. And so they confirmed that their business is indeed blowing up, and they have a lot of our people. So we're helping them through that by reducing hours, changing people out, because they still have to operate. And I believe this is going to be, a 60 to 90 day kind of pause in our economy, but not a stop. So, we're working out where we can, and we're having a lot of conversations in a time that people actually need that human connection.
What do you think happens on the tail end of that? And again, I think it's everybody's crystal ball that we're looking into to try to figure out, well, how long exactly does this last? In your crystal ball, you say 60 to 90 days. For all we know, it could be 6 months or a year. Hopefully it won't be anything like that. But what do we try to accomplish after this? What did we learn from? And I know we're still so early in this, but if we look forward and then turn around and look in that rear view mirror, what did we see, and how do we correct what we have been doing all along?
Well, I love your question, and here's what I would give. I've been having this conversation left and right. As a business, I'm on a podcast right now with you, right? We are not stopping our marketing. We're not stopping our sales. Before this conversation, I just had one of my sales guys say, hey, we had a client who had a question about the contract. We are, absolutely doubling down on our marketing. We're doubling down on our items of value for our clients, and we are doubling down on our connectivity to our clients. So my advice, I think 3 to 6 months, people will look back and say, wow, that business actually survived and thrived through this health crisis. And it's because you're sticking to the basics. I'll give you an example. Most companies right now are putting out emails, and it drives me crazy. Emails, this is how we're, what we're doing to fight the coronavirus.
Right.
That's ridiculous. It's dumb. It's stupid. The items of value that you should be putting out is helping your clients. What should they be doing right now? Mm-hmm. What should they be thinking about? How should they be serving their clients? What kind of messages? I still get these automated emails from other brands and other clients when they're saying, hey, this is a great time to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm just thinking they are so out of touch. So I think 6 months looking back, the companies that, cut fat from their business, not muscle. And muscle is described as, anybody who's client facing, any marketing spend, any leverage piece inside of your business that is really going to add value long term. The people who don't cut those items, those are the muscles, but cut the fat. Maybe you have to renegotiate your lease. Maybe you have to reduce your technology spend. Maybe that nice to have, very expensive project is going to go away, right? So you cut the fat, you keep the muscle, and you remember your clients, they need your help. You're the leader in your community. Go do your work. Your civic duty is to keep your people productive. And that's that's what we're preaching.
So let's put you in the position of being the doctor of this. And there's somebody that's out there that's experiencing, forget whether we're in crisis mode or we're not in crisis mode, but there's somebody out there that's suffering from some sort of symptoms or some sort of pain that says, I must call the doctor, meaning I'm calling Daniel to make sure that I'm fixed. What is the stuff that in a normal environment that you are working to help somebody fix? Are you providing a VA allotment of staff? Are you providing huge scaling where they can do 10, 20 new people onto their staff? What do you do for people?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Typically, in a scenario where we're talking to our clients, we're helping them figure out how to scale and grow. If you talk to a CEO, the biggest challenge that we all have is I need to find talent and keep high talent, like retention of talent and finding of talent. Those are the things that most CEOs are kind of concerned with. And that's what we do. We help people find and kind of retain great talent to help their businesses grow and scale. That's our normal scenario. Right now, we're helping our clients determine, well, what kind of messages should they be sending out? What kind of items of value should we be giving? What should we say when we're calling? I mean, I got called from a prospector this morning and they're like, hey, are you thinking about X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, no, I'm thinking about how we're going to survive. What are you talking about? So we put out an ISA scripts, inside sales associate, like what should they be saying? What should your outside sales team be saying? What should your inside sales team be saying? And we put that content out. So when people are coming, we're helping them figure out how to grow and scale. Right now, we're helping people go remote and we're helping people get through this time frame by quickly moving their marketing, sales message, and operations team to survive this time.
What's really interesting is when I first started to do some research on you, and this is just coincidental that you and I happen to be meeting on this day right in the middle of all of the shit that's been going down. Yeah. I think we actually had this planned months ago, but not realizing where we would be actually having this interview. And as I was doing the research, I started looking through just like virtual assistant companies. And as I ran into your company and doing the research, I'm like, this isn't a fucking virtual assistant company. This is so much beyond that, because even some of the stuff that you had just talked about is you're helping the creation of scripts. You're not just providing labor to fill a void, and to do a project. You really are doing like the sign says right behind you. And if you can't see it on video, Nice Guy Community, it's because I don't ever do anything on video because I'm always like reading notes and doing Google searches. Scale with virtual professionals. It's not scale with virtual assistants. So why don't you talk about for a moment the difference between a virtual professional and a virtual assistant, and why would that even be important to those in our community?
Yeah, sure. Well, look, there's a lot of businesses out there that provide virtual assistants. And if you need a data entry person, or if you need somebody to do some, menial task, we're not the company for you. Like, that's not what we do. We're not data entry. We're not those prescription fillers for the healthcare systems. What we have are sales professionals who, like, they've spent their entire career on the phones converting clients. We have marketing people, who they've been a marketing assistant or a marketing professional for their career, and they help creating content, engagement, and just high caliber pieces for you to use in your business, right? And then we have ops people. We have this one gal on our team. Her name's Chai. I cannot organize or run my business without her. Like, and I hope she's listening right now, or if she's gonna listen.
I've dropped too many F-bombs. She got shy and she went away.
Yeah, I don't know. But she's my ops person for sales and marketing. Like, literally, when we do a marketing thing and sales needs to get tied in, she's the person that bridges that gap, giving me reporting, giving me details, data, things like how long does it take to close a client? How much money are we spending for a particular client? These aren't assistants. These aren't VAs that are in India or somewhere in the world where it's low cost. These are people who are absolutely, I like to call them little ninjas, who can go into your business and help you grow and scale. That's what we do.
So typically, if you're dealing with, and again, you have to help me who your direct target market is. If I have an entrepreneur in my community that has 10 employees or even 2 employees, but they're really looking to find that ninja, would they be open? Would this be something that they could be calling you for? Or are you looking for the bigger companies that have the larger needs?
No, we're for sure right in the S&B market, small and medium-sized businesses. The thing about the large companies, they do everything in a call center. They do everything like have a great training program. They hire new college grads. Like that model for us just never really made sense because I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a medium-sized business. And I started this company because I had a need, right? Like that's how all great companies are ever started is I had a need. I filled that need for myself. And then a friend of mine said, hey, could you get me a couple? Like literally, that's how our business was started by accident.
Right. Same.
You'll laugh because so what happened was I was on my honeymoon. We were in Guatemala, Francis Ford Coppola Resort, in the trees, monkeys everywhere. My bride, brand new, we're married 2 days. We're staying at this resort and we're crawling through like ruins and doing the whole jungle thing, right? And one night I'm in the bar working at like 1 or 2 in the morning, and my wife is sleeping in the bungalow, and the bartender is making fun of me in Spanish. Like literally, he's like calling me a dumb white guy, beautiful wife in the bedroom. What's wrong with you? And I can speak Spanish. So I'm like, I look at him and he takes a picture. And at that moment, I knew as an entrepreneur, I had to shift something in my business.
Yeah.
I had to change something in order to survive. And that's really why MyOutDesk was started, why we're here, and what our mission is.
I love the idea. Can you get me a couple? Meaning, can you get me a couple like professionals that can actually help me the way that they have helped you?
Yep. That's exactly what happened.
Amazing. And so give me an idea of the kind of stuff that somebody that is in my community would be facing if they knew, oh, it is now time for me to call Daniel and his company. What are they experiencing in their company right now?
Yeah, I mean, right now, with the health crisis, you have people who maybe their kids are at home and they just can't work full time. Maybe they need to get down to 4 hours a day or 2 hours a day. I have a good friend who owns a CPA and an HR consultancy firm, and she's a small business. She only has 5 people, but she has 2 people who they have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and both parents are home today. How is she going to be productive, right? So, in this space, we're helping a lot of companies go remote. We're helping a lot of people figure out who's on their team that they need kind of backstops or backfills. And under normal circumstances, we're asking people like, hey, if you had to double your business tomorrow, what would you have to stop doing internally with your team in order to grow? That's the question. And that's the question that gets every entrepreneur's brain like on fire. Like, hey, if I had to double, like if somebody held a gun to my head, in fact, if you're listening right now,
let's walk through.
Write it down.
Let's walk through this. Let's walk through this for a second, because this is an interesting exercise. I'm really curious because I'm going to put myself as a key potential client of yours. Put me in the position so that I now am going to be in that mindset. So I don't understand if I made you double your business, what part of my business, my systems or my sales?
I like revenue.
Okay. All right.
Profits.
So tomorrow, so tomorrow I wake up and we have twice the revenue that we have. So is the question, what do we do?
Well, the question is, who do you need on your team? Because doing is the old mindset. That's the mindset of a small business. You and I doing isn't going to make anything happen. But who do I need on my team? So a billionaire doesn't go and buy a sports team and say, what do I need to do to make this a championship team? They go, who do I need to hire so that we can win this championship?
Okay.
And money's no object. So that's the mindset I want you to have right now.
So the mindset I have right now is, can I name positions or do I need to name responsibilities? Like I know I would need another onboarding specialist. I know I'm going to need more trainers. I know I'm going to need more production people. And I don't need any more marketing. So I could probably, if that's going to be fat now because I have more revenue, I can spend less time myself on prospecting, business development, and sales, at least for a moment, so that I can kind of get a bigger picture of that. Now, is that a bad philosophy to take, or is that?
No, and actually, a lot of times I'm talking directly to the CEO like you, and I'm saying, hey, what does your day look like? And what do you need to give up in order to really double? Because most of the time, as entrepreneurs, there are things that we are just amazing at that we just do because we've always done. There are things that we are amazing at that nobody else at the company can do. Like you and I are on a podcast right now. I have maybe one person who could have this conversation with you, but they wouldn't do it the way you and I are doing it.
Correct.
So as a CEO, you have to say, hey, what are the things that I have to do in the business? Because the job's the only I can do. Today, I'm on a podcast with you. This morning, I was on TV. I led a team marketing meeting. These are the things that only I can do, and everything else should be gotten off your plate. And that's the concept of leverage.
Well, fortunately, my team is so good that actually they don't even want me here.
Yeah.
so for me, they're very happy. They're like, the less you do. I remember 2 years ago. This is a year ago. This past January, my goal was to focus just on the things that are in my zone of genius, which are building relationships and selling. And that is all. No more spreadsheets for me. No more hands in in operations, because that really just is, I suck at that. So this year I'm like, okay, more sales, more relationship building. And I really want to focus on that relationship building by developing more joint venture partnerships. So we set about a task to just focus our sales process on joint venture partnerships. How can we work with another person, collaborate with them, build a business together? Because the marketing and the funnel stuff, I hate that. I hate it. Yeah. I get, like sweaty palms when it comes to, getting involved in the funnel. Now, it's a necessary evil of some of our online stuff, but the JV stuff, I don't want to deal with the funnel. So for me, that's the beauty of it. So I'm just thinking we would need to really scale the back end systems people to do more stuff. And they would have to be more people that are skilled at editing, skilled at writing, because those are two things, skilled at training people, skilled at onboarding and systems. So we would probably need, if I were to double my business tomorrow, I could probably, if I have 5 people doing those back end things right now, I probably could get away with hiring 3 more people to be able to do that, not doubling, and our margins are such that it's great, because if I bring in 5 more people, it's not like I'm doubling my expense. I mean, I'm more than, doing well in the revenue area to cover those costs.
Well, that's the other thing about our business. I started outsourcing in the last recession in 2007. Like, I hired my first virtual professional then, and we served our first client in 2008, and we took off. And the reason we took off is because there's a huge value proposition for high caliber talent at what we charge, which is $21,000 a year, which is ridiculous. You and I are both in California. A basic person who sits at the front desk is $50,000.
Right, exactly. I don't even know if I could go to the grocery store for $21,000 a year. I'm not saying that from an ego perspective. It's like, gas is almost $4 a gallon.
Right.
So it's like just leaving my house cost me $500 a month.
Right. Well, and that's kind of what we do, is we just help businesses think through who needs to be on the team, what positions. Then here's the other beautiful thing is, we'll help your team figure out what they can get off of their plate. So you likely have high caliber people who need to leverage themselves. Hey, my genius zone is copywriting, but 50% of their time is in other things. So we take away the 50% that isn't their sweet spot. We have a person do it. Your leverage gets leverage. And now all of a sudden they're free to help you work on the highest value things. In real estate, there's this concept of, location. If you have a cornerstone, right? Same thing in leverage. We call it compound leverage. If you can give away more and more of your day, and then you use those hours to drive revenue and grow business, well, guess what? That's going to exponentially pay off over time. And that's the piece that isn't intuitive to a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs.
So I know that we said at the top of the show, or maybe this was even before I hit record, that we would have some things for our community, so that if they're looking to take action today, if they want to figure out a way around some of the crisis that they're dealing with now, but some of the MO that they have during their normal operations, when all the stuff that's going on in the world isn't going on, what is the stuff that you're offering? I think there was multiple things that you were actually saying that you're going to be able to give our community.
Yeah. So first of all, if you're listening right now and you've liked anything that I've said, it's all for free on our website. And the best and easiest way is just if you text the word MOD to 31996. So that's 31996. And the reason we're doing a text code is because we built a special landing page for Doug and Nice Guy community.
Wow.
Where you can get basically the remote guide, you can get that. You can get our ISA scripts, like what to say to clients, how to survive a disaster. That's another free gift. And we made it all so you can download it and it's in Word. So most of the time as a marketer, I'm doing PDFs and locking stuff up and making, and it's gated, right? But during this time of crisis, I want every business owner, every entrepreneur out there to have access to these documents, to customize them, brand them to your own business so that you can use them to help your employees, help your clients, help your prospects survive this time. And we're giving all of that away for free. And also, if you find yourself in a place where you need help, we're doing consultations and helping businesses go remote. We have a client in Washington, D.C. who's about to get shut down like we are here in California. And I'm like, hey, let's jump on a call. He has 70 employees. They're about to all work from home, and they've never done that before.
Wow.
So we're doing a consultation for their entire team of 70 so that they can learn the best practices, tips. I mean, things like, hey, I got to go to the bathroom. Well, you don't want to say I got to go to the bathroom and chat and let everybody know, but you might put bio in the chat and just say, I'll be right back, bio break, like, so those little things are all in the 12-page guide. It's a fast guide to going remote, and it's completely free for Doug, you and your community. I really appreciate being here today.
No, I appreciate you being on the show today. I know that we came to you via our good friends over at Bestseller Publishing. I think one of the folks over there had recommended that I reach out or that we talk. So I'm glad that you were able to be here. I know while this is an uptime for businesses that are working remotely already, this is still a time of crisis for your clients and for people that are surrounding you. But I look at it as, here's an opportunity really to learn a new dimension of your business that you've never known before. So how cool is that to be able to step into this? We got this. We all have this. If we work through this together, remain positive, remain stress-free, or at least as close to stress-free as that you can get, you'll come out on the other side of this as a better person. Panic and fear are not going to do anything to support you here. So why don't we all just calm down just a teeny little bit, just take a breath, take a pause, and let's get on with life, because life is definitely happening.
Yeah, and I would agree. And in fact, I think if you have that CEO mindset right now and, start thinking about how I add value to my clients and customers and prospects, I think you actually have an opportunity to dominate and take market share from your competition. There are a lot of businesses who are freaked out right now, a lot of CEOs who aren't thinking about adding value. And I think there's just an opportunity. So if you're listening, I'm going to just give this text code one more time. Yeah. It's text MOD to 31996.
Yeah, and we'll make sure we put a link in the show notes for that also. Daniel, thanks for being on the show, and thanks for sharing your message and your positivity on the show today. Thanks for being here.
It's my pleasure, Doug. Thanks for your time.
Nice Guy community, never underestimate the power of nice or the power of a very talented, experienced, professional remote workforce. Special thanks to Daniel Ramsey. All of his information, including access to his text mod to 31996. And the website will also be in the show notes. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
For the Nice Guys on Business, I'm Steve O'Brien. I've done opens and closes for these bozos for 400 plus episodes. I've moved, I've had plastic surgery, I keep renewing the restraining order, but nothing has worked. They keep on finding me.